Hey everybody, it's been a while since my last video. I've been working on a whole bunch of different projects, which I'll try to make videos about. One of the things I got into recently was building guitar pedals. I have a band here in Wichita, and I started building guitar pedals and then I ended up making them for several musicians around here. By request, I've been asked to demonstrate my process for the builds that I do. Here are a few pictures of some that I've done already. Building these has sort of led me down a path of trying to figure out how to make the graphics. There's a number of techniques that you can use. I find mine to be kind of unique. I originally started etching the case with a CNC, a 3018 improver, and that was pretty cool. And then I decided I wanted to try to laser it. Bought a laser attachment for the prover, and I decided I didn't like that, so I ended up with a Xtool P2, which I use for a number of things now. Anyway, I'm going to show you how that works. Most of the boards that I build come from this website. This is Guitar PCB. Acquired a number of boards from here, and the ones I build all work really well, so give them a test out. This one I'm building here today, I'm going to show you my approach for the case itself. So let's get started. I started experimenting with using acrylic and dye sublimation for my faceplates. The purpose of this video is because that caught some interest and thought I would share kind of how that process works. I'm going to build this. It's a Nostalgia Tone 60s edition board. I've already populated it with parts, or most of the parts anyway. It's already soldered. Some of these drawings that they supply, these are supposed to be drill templates, and you take this and cut it out, make sure it's sized right, and then you put it on your panel that you're going to cut, and drill pilot holes, and then it tells you where to drill all your holes and stuff. But for the purpose of cutting this on my laser, that didn't work, so I had to go out here, and some of the ones that he has on the site have dimensions on here. This one didn't, so I had to go measure it, but that's all good. I've transferred it into a CAD program. Now the purpose of this first cut is to just make sure everything works well. This is a Xtool creative space that came with my Xtool P2 Laser. It works pretty well for this purpose. This I'm going to just cut on wood initially, and this allows me to put all the pots in place. You can see I have on there the different values, and so that gets everything in the right place, and then later on we'll cut the acrylic. Let's connect to my laser. There it is. The Xtool P2 is pretty cool because it has a camera in there that shows you what you have in the bed there, and you can even zoom in on it with a better camera. We're just cutting this into a 3mm basswood right now, just as a test. So that's what it's going to send to my laser. Let me grab the camera here. I should have chosen an easier board for this video. Alright, the idea here is that I should be able to line these all up. Well, in theory it seems okay. Let's see. Let me try this. Something like that. I'm sure you guys will come up with a better, more efficient way to do that, but hey, it's doing the job. Maybe double check, make sure you got all the right ones in the right places. That's good. You can solder these in, but I think I'm going to put the switches in as well. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. It looks like none of these pots are going to touch with the switches in there, so I'm not going to bother putting shields on them. So I'm not going to solder my switches on either yet. So my approach to soldering is to go hot. I've got my soldering iron set at 850 degrees. This allows me to get in and out of my solder joints pretty quickly. I also use the thinnest solder that I can find. Alright, that looks pretty good. You want to do the soldering after everything's lined up so you don't bind them. I made that mistake once, and when you cinch these into the case, you can actually just destroy the pots, so nobody likes that. Anyway, this video is not about building this board, it's about the acrylic, so I'm just going to snap my fingers and this is going to be built. Alright, this is what I have so far. I've got the switches mounted. I decided not to put the ribbon cables in until I do the acrylic, just to make sure I like how everything is sitting in there, because these ribbon cables are really cool and make it easy, but they can be just a little bit brittle if you move them around too much, so we're going to avoid that. But everything looks to be in its place. The LEDs I'll put in later too, because make sure the depth is right, or sometimes on the acrylic faceplates I'll make it just light up an image or something there. I haven't decided on this one yet. I'll probably put the LEDs through the panel, but we'll figure that out a little bit later. So this fits in there just perfect. This is looking really good. I'm happy with that. The next thing to do is to drill out the back of the case, and they have supplied some suggested locations for that here, and we'll follow that. Usually what I do for that, I go back to my CAD program and let's measure the dimensions of the case. Like 186. So I'm making a square that's 186. So the idea here is that these little holes here will be cut into the, I just did this on craft paper. I think that'll work. Looks about right. I'm going to drill these off camera. Alright, just to make sure everything's fitting in there, everything looks perfect, and then we can just wire. So this is one little disadvantage of the top faceplate idea, is that you can't wire it in place. You have to run the wires so that you can kind of fold it over. Alright, the next thing we're going to do, since I have this all drawn out on my CAD program, I'm going to export this to an SVG so we can go do graphics. This is the only type of export that the Xtool Creative Space thing will do is an SVG, so we'll just go ahead and do that. So I use Canva Pro to do all of my graphics. Canva Pro will not accept a SVG file at this time, so now I'm going to open this up with Inkscape, and then I export it to a PNG file so I can use it in Canva. I'm going to drag my template right into Canva. So I just leave these holes here as a reference to where everything is, and they'll print on there so that when we do the dye sublimation, things line up. So when I think of the 60s, I think of things like flower power and the design elements from Star Trek, maybe tie-dye. Let's look at and see what Canva can come up with for us. So we go to Elements, and I don't know, let's just type in 60s. If you could find one that you like. That's pretty funky. There's some tie-dye. That's pretty cool. You just use your imagination with it. Me not being a very imaginative person, I'm just looking here for inspiration. Record player. You gotta think about when you're doing this what the text will look on it, like on it too, so that you can label your knobs. That's kind of cool. I don't think I'll use it though. It's a little garish, but I think we'll go with it. So I'm gonna send this backwards so we can see our template on here. Now all we have to do is go label. So here's the volume knob. Make sure you leave enough room for how big your knobs are planning to be. So you can pick your fonts, you can change all of that stuff. I'm gonna go, let's see. I'm gonna go something like this. I like that. There's effects that you can do with this as well. If you need to show the background a little bit better. Like that. Since this background's kind of busy, I might just go with that. The size looks good. I like it so far, so I'm going to duplicate this because there's a number of volumes. 3 of them. That's kind of cool. I think I'll just go with this original one here. Alright, so I'm going to download this, and I want to pick PDF print. And I just open this up and whatever. It's important to make sure it prints 1:1. I'm going to print this. I have an Epson ET15000 that's been converted with dye sublimation ink. So we're going to print it to that. I want to make sure that it is printing actual size. This is ET15000. I have dye sublimation paper in there. Alright, now that we have our graphics printed, the next thing is to cut the acrylic. Now this is going to be on transparent acrylic, essentially. It's 4 millimeters thick. Good. I'm probably going to do 2 passes just to be safe on these cuts. So process, that looks correct. That leaves us with our final acrylic product. This has a coating of white polyester on the back so that it can accept the dye sublimation. So we'll line this up with the graphics on there, and then we're going to go put it on the heat press. I'll see you there. Alright, this is a t-shirt press. I have it set for 330 degrees. I'm going to try to press this. I've already got it lined up in there on the acrylic. This is going to go on down. And give it a couple minutes. Finally, we have our end product. It looks came out pretty nice. There's still a couple flaws I'm finding with this process, but we're working to work out the kinks. So I'll save this in case I need to build another one. I'll probably complete this build later as far as soldering goes, but we're essentially done. I found these matching Allen head screws that are flat on the bottom to fit in there. All that's left is to sort out what type of knobs we want to put on there. Those would be cool. I don't know if I have enough of them. I don't know if I have enough of any of these. That has a nice 60s feel. Let's do this. We'll do this. I think I'll call that done for the purposes of the video. I still need to put the LEDs in. I still need to finish out the wiring inside. But otherwise, it's a done deal. In the next video, I have been working, but there's a delay pedal that everyone I've made has kind of just been taken from me because they love them so much. The only thing it doesn't have is a tap tempo. And I know that there was a solution for that, but I'm making my own. I bought some microcontrollers and some digital potentiometers that will do the trick on that. If this type of thing interests you, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.